is it fair to be impatient as a fan and wonder like why are these guys not showing up, or can you explain maybe why there's a lag between winning and the recruits piling in?
Well, here's the thing too. Winning was part of it, but also you have to show a consistent pattern of winning. We're talking about a school that's had, you correct me if I'm wrong, it's four or five, four under 500 seasons. So they haven't had a lot to base on. Yes, kids are excited. I mean, they're getting kids on campus they haven't had before, and I expect that continued Florida game. Don't be surprised there's some names that you haven't seen before that are top kids that come to that Florida game. So it's coming. It's just not as fast as I think people want it to be. But you also have to connect in that kids believe in it, but it's also you have to show a consistent pattern of doing it every year. And two, I would say this really, and this is what my focus is, guys. And the main thing is I would really watch the portal this year because I think it's probably going to be the best group that FSU's ever put together as far as from the portal. That's my opinion. There's a lot of positive energy and vibes around places I talk to of schools that they kind of know some kids are going to jump in the portal. And FSU has always been one of the schools that they mention the first the most. So I think this is going to be a big year again for FSU from the portal. But high school, it's going to translate, guys. It's just not going to go, I guess, to the speed that people want. Like, say if Florida's good, bam, they're going to jump there because Florida has more foundation of what they've done compared to what FSU's done in the last 4 or 5 years. So it will come, but people just have to be a little patient as far as how it's gradually done because we've seen, look how Norvell's built this program. You got some high school kids that are sprinkled in that are really good, but you really attack the portal to fix the now. And two, when they go after a high school kid, the guys they covet, it's got to be more than just NIL. It's not just money all the time. It's got to be stuff outside, more than just, hey, cut me a check. It's got to be stuff where, okay, what do you want to get out of your career in your college career? And so Norvell does a really good job of getting the right guys in there, and that's why they're the results of what they have. That's why Johnny Wilson's exploded this year. That's why Trey Benson has gone to another level the last 3 weeks. It's like they got guys that fit everything they want to do, but the recruiting will take care of itself. And as I said before, when you're winning, that stuff's going to take care of itself. You're going to see it happen. So be patient, guys. It's coming. The wave is coming. I hear a lot of positive buzz in recruiting. I know people want it now. Give me my 5-star right now, but it's coming.
Anything on defensive backs?
Yeah, there's several guys they're involved with. I think Damari Brown is one that I think they're getting some positive traction with, although I still think there's Miami ties there, so you wonder how that's going to work. But he's very high on FSU. I think another guy that's going to visit for the Florida game, he hit me back up. I think last night is Will Lee. He's a JUCO defensive back. I think he's coming in for the Florida game. They've already offered him. There's a lot of. I think he's got a lot of excitement as far as what he likes about this FSU program. So that's a guy I think they're heavily involved with. I think Conrad Hussey is another one, strong safety out of St. Thomas Aquinas, 4-star. He's a guy that visited FSU in the summer. I think he's going to visit later again for an official visit. He's committed to Penn State, if I'm not mistaken. But he's a guy that grew up a fan of FSU. So he's a guy that I'm keeping a close eye on, going forward as far as with FSU. I think that's a possibility. So those are kind of the ones that are possibilities right now. Like I said, it would not surprise me if you have some guys that are new that haven't visited FSU in a while that come for that Florida game. I'm hearing some. I want to wait till the lists come out and stuff, but I'm hearing some pretty strong stuff about talented prospects that haven't visited before that are going to be on campus for that weekend for the Florida game.
And Octavio also says, I feel like Norvell cares more about character than stars. Could that mean that we'll never have one of those top 5 classes?
No, I think he cares just as much about talent. Last time I checked, Hakeem Williams is a 5-star. So, Lucas Williams is a top 100 player. Keldrick Falk is a top 100 type player. So these are really good elite players. I think character does play into what they look for culture wise of how this guy fits in there. And like I said, there's no fantasy world when these kids come in here, they know exactly what they're coming into. This isn't like, oh, you're awesome, you're great, but hey, when you get to Florida State, it's going to be all surprises and new. It's like these guys know what they're coming into, and I think the product on the field has helps you reflect to your recruiting class. Like it's going to get better every year with recruiting. I mean, we've already seen that. That last time I checked, I don't think they got a 5-star last year. So you already have 5 stars. You're having guys that you really haven't had a chance to get into that certain area, like Alabama, to get a top player like Keldrick Falk. So I think they're doing stuff because of their season. So the product's already reflecting that. I don't think he cares more about character. I won't say character than stars. I'll say character than talent, because when you start measuring stars, you're looking to what somebody else's opinion is, not to what the talent is. So I think he cares a lot about talent, but I think it's a mixture of, as I said before, the NIL. It can't be just about one thing. Like it's a combination of stuff of what he looks for in a player. And yeah, it's a little bit different than a lot of coaches, but it's certainly paying off and working when you look at the talent and what it's done. Um, to my knowledge, nobody's hit the transfer portal. Sam McCall was close, but nobody's hit the transfer portal. It tells you a lot about what their product and what they're doing, and their players are producing and getting developed. I mean, you look at every kid, just about every kid that came in here that's new. You see a difference of a player. I mean, their development is certainly standing out, and that jumps out to recruits. So I just think it's only a matter of time before it starts reflecting. Do I think they're getting a top 10 class this year? No, probably top 15. Do I think they're getting the top 10 class and or below that, maybe 7 or 8 next year? Yeah, I think that's very real possibility. So I think that's realistic, but it's going to be a process of slowly, because you don't just all of a sudden explode in recruiting after you had 4 subpar years and then have one good year. I think as long as that pattern continues of what their product is, the recruiting's going to take care of itself. They're going to get top guys. And it's already shown this year with some of the guys I just listed. I didn't even list Blake Nicholson at linebacker, 4-star, another top player that they did a great job, that they beat out a team like Oregon, who has a better, would you say, history of the last 4 years compared to FSU. So they're getting guys because of what they're doing. So it's only a matter of time where it starts resulting in the top 10 classes, and then eventually you'll get a top 5 class. Here we go. Can watch some clips here with Aslan. Break it down. So yeah, he's just a guy that they've always loved. Just his mentality, the way he finishes, was the thing that caught my attention when I watched him at the showcase. And this is a guy that several schools are now starting to get on, and I think FSU's been on him the longest. And I like their chances. I think this kid eventually ends up a Seminole. If you want a nugget, there's my nugget. I think Chris Otto is going to be a Seminole, but we'll wait and see, kind of see how it happens. But this is a guy they mentioned well before even the Kearney stuff started creating news, that this was the player that really just jumped out to them, that they were really starting to get higher and higher on every time he had a game each week. It was a higher
Dude,
praise
he's
of
ragdolling these dudes. He's
yeah.
ragdolling these guys.
Yeah, I mean he is a monster, so he fits everything of kind of what Atkins wants. And I've told people this for a while about the way FSU views this kid, and certainly they're putting all the work in to get him. So I think it's more so. I think it's a lot more likely, Mike, that they get Otto than Kearney in this class. But yeah, we'll see.
Have you seen this coaching staff change their approach at all since they've gotten here, Michael? Have you seen an evolution from Mike Norvell and his staff when it comes to recruiting?
Um, no, they've been pretty consistent of what they look for in a player. Certainly, their evaluations I thought have been pretty on point. They're not all good, but most of them are. The way they recruit kids is certainly, you see the relationships was the first thing, and then I think what's changed is the product on the field. I think the product on the field is what's changed. It might make it look like the recruiting has changed with FSU, but I think they've stayed true to who they are. That you know relationships are big, but we're going to work you hard. We're gonna develop you. We're gonna do everything. It's obviously working for you know with Coach Norvell every year. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be an easy thing, The coaching is going to be really difficult. To be some days you don't like him. I think he's been really consistent with how hard he coaches players, but also that relationships are in character and culture, and that kid fitting that culture is still a big part of what they look for in every player. I don't think much has changed there. I think it comes off appearing that it looks different because of the product on the field from FSU and really taking this to another level this season. Yes, it's a big priority to them, but I think the main thing they knew they had to show because they didn't have like some guru that was really locked into the a guru that was locked into the South Florida area. So they had to let their product do the talking. That's why that Miami game was so big. They went in there and just smashed them, like right in front of their fans. Thanks for the recruiting weekend, Mario Cristobal. Take this 45-3 butt kicking with you. How about that? So, I mean, that they need to show their product to kind of elevate their recruiting in that area. And I think a lot of kids believed in kind of what they were doing, but I think that game really just took it solidified, kind of where this is going and sticking. And they had to kind of lean more on the results, and then they just kept on with the relationships. But it is a vital area for FSU. It's going to be an area I think they recruit hard every single year. When there's players there, I think FSU is going to go all in.